Have you ever been in a situation where you had something brilliant to say, but the second you opened your mouth, people just kind of talked over you and just ignored you? Or maybe you've noticed that when you get nervous, your voice gets tight and thin and squeaky, and you sound a bit like a kid in school. I know from personal experience, there's nothing more frustrating. But here's the truth. People don't ignore you because your ideas are bad. They ignore you because your voice isn't giving your words any weight. When your voice lacks power, people automatically sort of disregard what you're saying, sadly enough. Now, I'm saying all this because I know this frustration inside out, because for years I struggled massively with my own voice. I used to hate how I sounded. I sounded weak, thin, and I had a lot of tension in my voice for various reasons. So I had to put a lot of work into my voice to rediscover, let's say, what it really could sound like. Today, I have a voice that I'm good with. You know, it's not perfect, but it's a voice that allowed me to speak from the stage, to run a successful business, to reach over 20 million views on YouTube in long-form content, while also helping thousands of people transform their own lives, their communication skills, and their confidence. So today I'm going to share with you the 3 most important habits that I've developed over the years that helped me to become more authoritative with my voice, and that's without faking a deep pitch or like sounding like a radio presenter. By the end of this video, you'll know how to make people listen and lean in when you speak. But you have to actually do these things, otherwise it will never work. So the first problem for most people is that they don't speak from the diaphragm. And if you speak without support from your diaphragm, your voice will always run out of gas. You'll sound weak, you'll get tired fast, and under pressure, your voice will crack. Now, imagine trying to shoot a basketball without, your arms or your elbow or anything, just with your wrist. Like, you're not going to get very far, right? That's what it's like when you speak from your throat only. Your diaphragm is vital for your voice. It's like using your whole upper body. That's where your actual power comes from. Real authority doesn't come from pushing down on your vocal cords. It comes from putting on a steady cushion of air under your vocal cords from your belly by having your diaphragm engaged. And by the way, voice scientists have shown that diaphragmatic breathing engages the vagus nerve as well, which actually lowers your heart rate, which is very convenient when you're speaking publicly. So speaking from your belly doesn't just make you sound authoritative to others, it physically also makes you calmer on the inside. Now, how do you speak from the diaphragm? Well, it's my old technique, the laughing to speaking technique. So all you have to do is ha, 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 and break into a laughter. And then you go from laughing to speaking. And then you speak, and that's your actual voice. So if you hear a difference in my voice right now, it's because I connected more to the diaphragm. And by laughing, it just naturally connects you. It's the easiest way. There are probably 50 more complicated ways of trying to get there. None of them work as easily as laughing to speaking, laughing to speaking, laughing to speaking. That's all you need to know. Laugh and then go into speaking voice from that laughing. So that's how you speak from your diaphragm. And if that's really loud in your head right now, get used to it. That's your actual voice. So remember, weak voices come from the throat. Authoritative voices are powered by laughter. Now, a lot of people understand this part, but in their daily lives, it's a bad habit that gets in the way of using their diaphragm. See, you can't actually use your diaphragm if your posture is trapping it. Slumping over literally crushes your breathing engine before you even got started. I see this all the time with people who work at desk jobs, right? Like me right now, I'm sitting at a desk. They sit hunched over on their laptops all day, shoulders rolled over and like the neck sticking out. And then they try to get on a Zoom call and they wonder why their voice sounds small and strained. It requires some conscious effort to actually have space to breathe into. But the important principle is here, an authoritative voice requires physical space inside of your body. If your chest is collapsed, you've got no space to breathe into and your voice is forced to stay shallow and thin. It's a bit like, I can't breathe in. So obviously I'm not going to be able to, speak properly, right? The big lesson here is you've got to realize that your voice isn't just your vocal cords. It's pretty much the whole of your upper body working together. Here's how to fix this. The hardest part is actually to become aware and manage to change your habitual ways of being, which can be very hard. So the easiest way I found is to just focus on being energized in your abs, lifting in your abs. abs energized. That's all, really. To me, that's a lot easier than imagining a string pulling you up, and it goes along with a mindset of pride and holding yourself upright. That's the only way that you can make sure that you actually have space to breathe into when you breathe in, so that you can engage the diaphragm. So remember, if you can't breathe in freely, you can't speak freely. Okay, give me a second. Now, why am I holding a violin in my hand? What's it got to do with the third problem that most people experience that stops them from having an authoritative voice? Well, breath gives you volume, but resonance is what gives you authority. It's what turns a loud, annoying shout into a rich, warm tone that people actually want to listen to. So I've played the violin from a very young age, okay, since the age of 4 actually. Now the strings themselves, if they weren't attached to this violin, would make hardly any sound. However, the reason why a violin sounds so beautiful is because this wooden body vibrates and basically provides resonance. In a layman's way, you could say the strings create a vibration, and that creates a sound that echoes around in this body and then comes out. That's how it sounds beautiful. So your body, your chest, your mouth, and your throat is very much like a violin body. That's important to remember. Now, the easiest way to rediscover your resonance in your chest, in your throat, and even your head is to hum. And secondly, it is to do lip trills. Let's try it. That's humming, yeah. You're making an M sound, basically. So you do that for a minute or two. And then what you do is you do lip trills. Okay? And you do that for a while. The great thing about lip trills is actually that you have to engage your diaphragm to do this. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You feel like a fool. And at the same time, you're warming up your lips, but also your resonance. In the shower, on your way to work, in the car, on public transport if you can bear it. Try this out. Humming you can do anywhere, okay? Especially in noisy places, nobody will know what you're doing. While I still have this violin in my hand, here's something really fascinating about violins, okay? You'd think they always sound the same, right? No, they don't. You know, when you don't play them for a while, especially if you don't play them beautifully for a while, they don't quite sound as beautiful as they did before. And then you play them again for a while, and then they get their resonance back, and they sound as beautiful as they've always sounded. Your voice is the same. When you start using it with resonance, when you start using it from the diaphragm, when you start using it with proper breathing, where you have space to breathe into, when you do that regularly, you'll notice that your voice will generally become warmer, more resonated, more engaged, more authoritative. And then it just becomes a part of you. This takes some time. That's why I'm giving you these as daily exercise habits. But it's like going to the gym, or it's like stretching in the morning. You want to wake up your voice every day. It's the most powerful communication tool that you have. So don't waste it by speaking like a little... Now, if you actually do these things, you will unlock your natural authoritative voice, which you have. But there's still one big mistake that can ruin your impact and stop people from actually listening to what you have to say. And I'm addressing it in this video here.